We went to visit this powerhouse, which needed a series of constructions, and we had to model it in Revit. I decided to teach you this part for the powerhouse. Hi, I am Sahar Kiani, and in this video, I will teach you how to modify different parts of powerhouse. In order to have a better understanding of this powerhouse, I will first describe and explain this sector to you. We have a device called a boiler, and this boiler produces hot water for us. Here I am drawing a cast iron boiler and a steel boiler. I'll name this one cast iron boiler here, and this one steel boiler. These two are producing hot water for us. If I have a collector here, I can get hot water from this boiler and also from this other boiler here. The hot water that is produced enters a set of pumps. I will show the pumps here. The pumps have a collector, and I set hot water into this collector here. Now from this collector, I have an input to heat exchanger. I will write the heat exchanger here, domestic hot water generator. So from this pump, I have an input to a heat exchanger. Now what happens in the heat exchanger? The hot water from that comes from the boiler, moves into a set of coils, and then turns into this boiler. So you might want to know, why does it move here? Well, because I have a cold water input to this boiler, I will show it in this color here. We have a cold water input to this heat exchanger. This cold water moves from these coils and produces hot water for us. This hot water that is produced from the boiler is not cost effective for us, so we want to save it here. So from here we produce hot water, and this hot water moves from the boiler and returns to the heat exchanger. I will write this as a hot water return here. So a cold water and a hot water that is returned from the boiler are mixed into this heat exchanger here, and they are transferred from these coils and produce a cost-effective hot water for us. This is a cycle. The hot water that is produced from the boilers come into the pumps, and from the pumps it comes to the heat exchanger. And now it goes back. I will draw this with the same color. Here for the boilers, we have a return collector. The hot water that is returned from the heat exchanger comes into this collector, and from this collector it returns to the boilers. So in this cycle, hot water is produced, it returns and gets hot again. And this side also produces a cost-effective cold water, a return hot water, a cost-effective hot water for us. We want to model these facilities and passageway between them in Revit. Here an architectural space has been modeled, and now I want to load the facilities here and display them. So from the top of this column, I hit the Load Family button. And from the space where I modeled the families of this project, in the folder, I select the Mechanical Equipment family. Look here, we have a boiler, a domestic hot water generator, and the pumps here. I select all four of them and hit open to load these families in the project. To display these facilities, I go to the system, and from the mechanical equipment section, I go to the properties window to see the families that I have loaded. First, I select the cast boiler and set its display height to 200 millimeters, so 20 centimeters, because I want to build a foundation under it. Here, at the right time, I want to display it. I must rotate it to a 180 degree. This is the part that connects the pipes. I want it to fall in another direction, so by pressing space on my keyboard, I rotate it and click. Again, from the properties windows, I select the cast iron boiler. I can also rotate it with a space to display it at the right time. And next, I will go and I will select the domestic hot water generator. To display them, I have to set the height to 200 millimeters, so 20 centimeters, so that I can display it in this foundation. Here is one click, and here is the next click, so that two heat exchangers can be displayed next to each other and they can be connected. To display the pumps, I select the type of pumps from the properties windows, enter its height, and rotate its space. So here I will click and I will click again, and that two pumps can be displayed here. I just have to enter the height of this boiler to 200. That I forgot that the height is 20 centimeters for this foundation. To model the foundation, I select the model, a component, and model in place section from the system tab. And here, in fact, my foundation is a type of a floor. So in this window, I select the floor and I will click on OK. I also want to consider a name for this floor, which I enter as a boiler foundation. Okay, so to model the foundation of this pump, I press the extrusion command and select the rectangle. Here I will click, and this is the next click. In the extrusion end section, I enter 200, which is actually the height of my foundation, and I will click on OK. I can do the same for the next foundation, and I will enter the extrusion and rectangle commands in the first header. I also select a foundation for the pumps with a height of 200 millimeters, and I will click on OK. And again, in the first header, I will enter the extrusion command with this rectangle. I select the next foundation for heat exchangers, and I will OK it here. Finally, I will OK the finish mode button to confirm the model in place command. Now, my foundation is visible here. I have to model the path between these foundations. The inputs and outputs for the boiler are listed above. And for the hot water boiler, it is in the back of this boiler here. The hot water produced from these must enter that collector. I can make a section in this path, and I will collect this section here. I will collect them here now. I will right click, go to view. In the system header, I type the pipe command. And from the properties window, I select the welded carbon steel pipe. For the second time, I have to set the pipe type. I select the hydraulic supply type, and the diameter of this collector is 6 inches. It does not have a shape pipe in the height that I want. I select this pipe by right-clicking on it, and I will go back to the plan here. Now I have to assign the output of the hot water from the boilers to the collector. It may be necessary to change the time of the collector to connect those pipes to the collector. For first time, I click on it and I will select the cast iron boiler. Here is the place for the output of the hot water or the same hydraulic supply. And this pipe, I right click on it and I will drill the pipe, and I assign a pipe with the size of 4 inches. Then I go up And by right-clicking, I can right-click on the pipe of this collector. The pipe is now connected to the collector here. It is better to come and look at this part in 3D spaces that I selected and clicked on the selection box button. I came from the side and connected these collectors. I do the same for the iron boiler here. Now I right click and click on the drill pipe. And I have to go up a little bit. That is the height of the pipe, which is 1.15 meters, and it should be higher. I enter the height as 2 meters here. Then I can adjust the height in the 3D. I come a little to the front and then I select the pipe of this collector to connect. Because the height of this pipe and collector are very far apart, I cannot show it here in the connections. Now let's take a look. I will cancel this. I bring this section a little back and I will open it. Now let's go to a section. Look, I couldn't connect them here. I can bring this pipe a little lower. Now I go back to the plan, right click, drill pipe, and make this connection. If I select this part, I can see in the 3D space with the selection box. Let's go back to the plan. Now I want to bring an exit from this collector to the pumps. Before I do this, I complete the path of the pumps and I will draw it. I will bring this section next to one of the pumps. Right click, go to view. This section is the entrance of the pumps. That is, the pipe that comes from the boilers should enter here. So I have to draw a pipe in the shape of an L and place the collector above it. From here, I right-click drill pipe, and with a 4-inch size, I will draw a path from the pipe and I will come up here. Before I continue, 2 things must be arranged here. First is that the change that leads to my pumps here must be a one-sided change. So I clean it here. From the header of systems, the pipe fitting sections, I select one-sided change here. And you can see easily, you can find it in the search section. Search for reducer. I select the unbalanced reducer. I click on this button to show. Now I select the entrance size, which is set from 105.2 to 125.6 for me. With the size of the pump, I set it into 3 inches. Now I can make the connection to my pump by drilling a little. The next point to pay attention to is the length of the pipes, and it should be like a 5-inch diameter. If I measure it here with this ruler, the diameter of the pipe is 114.3. I will draw a reference here and I insert the offset here. And it's equal to 114.3 x 5. This is the minimum distance I want the pipe to have. Here it calculated it for me. On the change tab, I click on and I will click it down. In fact, this length of pipe should reach the reference plane here. And I select the pipe and place it so that they are in the same direction. This came out of the wall here, so I have to select it. I select this part by drilling and place it backwards. The length of this pipe should be equal to the diameter of the pump. Let's go to the plan here. And on this pipe, I make a right click and drill a pipe. A little to the right, I draw a pipe. This is supposed to be my collector. Just to have more accurate references to this pipe, I drew it like this. Let's look at this part in the diagram. Now I will clean this here. I set my collector size to 6 inches and I will fix it here. Now, then I can increase the length of the collector by drilling it in the plan. Now I have the same section I was in. I connect this pipe to the collector by drilling. I go back to the plan. I clean this here. I select this pump and I will connect it. I will take a copy from it. And from here, with a suitable distance, I consider 700 millimeters or 17 centimeters. I will enter it so that this pump is next to it. Now I want to go from this collector to the pump that is in the collector. This collector is about 2 meters high, so I draw a pipe here. Here I will draw this pipe, PI with a height of 3 meters. Here I will click on it. Now I come to this side and I will click. And here I click on the collector. Now look at this part in the diagram all together. The hot water that was produced from the boilers entered the collector here. It comes from the collector and enters the pumps. Now, from the pumps, you have to draw the path towards the pipe. I come back to this section here, and here I will right-click, draw a pipe. I want to draw a pipe with a height of 3 meters. Up to the reach of the collector, I change here. The change here can be the same type of change as before. I come to the plan. Here I will right-click, draw a pipe. I come to the right and I clean this pump here. And I will make the size of the collector and I will put it on 6 inches. And I draw a collector from the left side. I can also put the section in this path. Then I collect my section, right-click on it, go to views. Now by drawing, I transfer this pipe to my collector. From this pump, I will right-click, draw a pipe with a size of 3 inches. I come to the collector and I transfer this pump to my collector. Now from here, one pipe should come to this side and one pipe should come to this side. We can consider one collector for the heat exchanger and one pipe should come for the heat exchangers here. Here I control the pipe and I will use the PI shortcut. I draw a pipe with a height of 3 meters and with a size of 3 inches. Here I will click and here I will click again. I bring this section to the side of my heat exchangers and I will right click on it, go to view. Here the height of the pipe is very high, so I can bring it down. Now from here I will right click and draw a pipe. I come to the front, I will click on it and I come to this collector so the water is coming and entering this coil here. Next, I will go back to the plan. I have to model the connection of these. I control the pipe, PI, I will put it on 4 inch with the height of 3 meters. And here I will click on it. I will come to this side and click. And here I will click again. Let's take a look. I select it and I click on the selection box. Gradually, our space is, making it. So let's go back to the plan. I place this section here, right click on it, go to view here on the heat exchanger. I will right click on it, draw a pipe. I come to the front and I click on the collector. So this is the complete path of the pipe. To go back, I start from the heat exchanger here. As you can see, I will start from the heat exchanger and I will copy this pipe, click here, and I will click again and I will make a copy of it. Now I will select it, I put the system type on the return state in this section, which was section 1. I come here and I will click again and I will right click, draw a pipe. I come to the front and the path of the collector. If you don't have it, it doesn't matter. You can click here and you can click here again. Then with the reference plan, that's RP, you can select the collector's image and draw a reference plan. Now with the align AL, select this reference plan and this pipe. With drag, send the pipe to the collector. Let's go back to the plan here. I place this section here and I will right click on it, go to view again, and I will right click here, draw a pipe. I come to the front. Now because I drew a reference plan, it shows the image to me here. I will click on it and I will come to the top and I will click again. Now from here, we have to come to the return collector. Again, I will make a copy of this collector here. And here I will click on it and I will put it here. I make a pipe command. I type PI, a 4-inch size in the 3-meter height. And I come here and I will click on it. I will bring it to the front a little bit and I will move it to this side. And here on the collector, the next, I will click on it. Now from this return collector, I have to send the pipe to the boilers that we have. Here I will right click on it, draw a pipe. I draw a pipe to the front. I can come up to a height of 2 meters here. And a little bit to this side. And here I will click on it again. Probably because of the height, it cannot connect here. I come to this section that we had here. I move it back and forth and I send it to the collector. Right click on it, go to view, and it's exactly enough. So I move back and forth. I move it down a little bit and I will go back again. Here, right click on it, draw pipe, and here I will click on it again and it connects. From this side, again, in order to have a better connection, I can align this boiler with the collector. With the command align AL, I align this point and this image here. So these two are left. I align this collector and this boiler, this collector and this boiler here. One right click and I will do the draw pipe again with the right click. I come up to the height of a 1200 and then I will click to the collector again. Again, the height does not allow here, so I will go to this section. I come to this section here. I will right click on it, draw pipe. I come up a little bit. Here I will click and I will click again. I can align these two with the align AL. If we put it in the 3D view, it becomes a cylinder collider. So that we had in this powerhouse space, the sides of the flanks in the boilers, the blueprints, and the equipments in the powerhouse can be learned in the powerhouse learning package. Thank you for being with me in this video.